And all of a sudden, I'm actually a bit nervous for doing this. Hello everyone, good evening. Hi from Belgium. I'm Menoscan, Papa Italiano, however you want to call me. Welcome, good evening, and first of all, before anything else, thank you. Really, really thank you. This is the fourth anniversary. Well, it was a couple days ago because the fourth year anniversary of opening the Patreon for JPDE was on the 15th of November. So, anyway, fourth anniversary, 4 years of JPDE and everything that's come to it high, lows, good, bad. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really couldn't be here without you. So, since I'm not playing any games, I'm not going to be playing any video, I don't need to listen to anything for feedback, I thought that we would just use the webcam. But if there is problem with the audio, if you can't hear me very clearly, you can't really understand what I'm saying, even if I'm talking slowly, please tell me in the chat and I'll switch to headphones, okay? Tell me if there is any audio problems, I'll switch to this. Okay, so hello, hi, no, well, thank you for bringing the characters back to life. But yeah, I guess I did that, didn't I? So, what is this going to be? Let me show you. Well, some of you may have already seen the schedule, but for those who haven't seen it yet, I actually put it on a file, a JPEG, and there it is. Now you should see it on the screen as well. As you can see, this is the schedule. We're gonna schedule this as if it was a panel. We're gonna go with paper. Old man and paper. Well, I'm not that old, but you know what I mean. So it's going to be scheduled as one would a panel at a convention. That's how I thought about doing it. We're gonna go through three different parts of the panel, and in between each part we're gonna have some Q&A where I answer questions from the fans. Some have already been pre-submitted on Discord and Patreon. Well, actually, just on Discord, because I asked patrons first, but it seems that all patrons want to do is give me money and nominate characters, because not a single one asked any questions. Well, maybe because they're privy to more than most other people, but you know, so we're gonna start directly with the Discord questions and then go into the Twitch chat questions. And as I said, I'm watching the chat and I'm also watching the Discord on my phone. So actually, let me wait. Yeah. Oh wow. See what happens when you don't keep it unlocked. There we go. So I'm watching both chats on phone and on the screen, so don't be afraid to just get into the conversation because I will be checking both of them. With full screen is there, everything is better. So the three parts. The first part that we're going to be getting into soon is the conception and transformation on JPD. The final product of the game is something completely different from what it was at its conception, and the conception itself is an interesting story. Then the first interlude for the first Q&A. Then we had the creative process. How is JPD made? So how the technical, the nitty gritty. How do I write? How do I code? How do I get the art from all my collaborators? Then the second Discord members Q&A. I'm gonna show some never seen before concept art, by the way. Prepare yourself. And part 3, the future. I'm gonna talk about what the hell are we going to do next now the JPD, the main story is finished. Of course, there is more to add to the base game, but the main story is finished, so we also start to get into other stuff. These are the three parts of the panel. So, if you already got that, let me ask again, is my voice coming through loud and clear? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Is there any problems with the audio? If there is, we're going to switch to headphones. So, there's a sound in left headphone speaker loud and radio. Probably should switch to more sound. Yes, papa, no problem. Everything is good. Yes, that is good. Hi, Borgert. Okay. Hi, Raznek. Okay, seems like the audio is not a problem, so let's start. And gonna have some slideshows, and to change them, we're gonna go to a few seconds. So, JPDE. What a trip. Am I right? Look at that. Look at that logo. That's the logo for the final update post that I put on each and of course Patreon everywhere. And it's different from the usual logo that you can see on the game when you open it because it signifies a change. Even the colors signify a change in two other characters. If you finish the game, you know what I'm saying. By the way, it's been 2 weeks now, so you can talk about the game, the spoilers in the chat, so like, you know. So it's been a trip. But how did it start? And that's where the interesting story starts. 4 years. The anniversary of the Patreon is the 15th of October, but JPDE, the story, actually starts before that, in August. That's where the concept came to life, but even before that, I had to talk a little bit about my relationship with Rooster Teeth and Ruby, the original animated series the game is based on. So, this could sound weird, but I didn't get to making JPDE and to watch the series because I liked Ruby, but just because I liked Penny Polendina. You know what I'm talking about, right? The main character of the, well, main heroine, we could say, of the game. Let me show you actually. This maybe it's a picture that a lot of you haven't seen because this was actually the first version of the first CG of the game. Look at that. Look at that. That's Penny. You all know Penny. If you play the game, if you're here, I suppose you know Penny. So, what's happening? What's happening is that in August of 2016, I became a fan of Penny. Specifically, not a Ruby, because I was aware of Rooster Teeth, but I didn't grow up with them. Even before Ruby, Rooster Teeth was famous for Red and Blue, the machinima series based on the world of Halo, you know, that kind of stuff. That's how they became big, then they went into other stuff. But before that, I wasn't really aware, like, I was aware of their existence, but I wasn't really aware what they did, why they were a big deal, if they were a big deal at all. The first contact I had with Ruby and Rooster Teeth was when the company bought Screw Attack. Maybe some of you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but it was a website, a company that did machinima video, comedy videos as well. One of these, and it's a show that's still going on because Rooster Teeth bought them, and that show still goes on to this day, is Dead Battle. You know, the series where they put characters from fiction, from fandoms, one against each other, and see who wins. They'll analyze their powers, weapons, and abilities, whatever. It's never been that really accurate or fair. Like, also, some characters are just too broken to want to do something fair. But the thing is, the first time I was aware of Rooster Teeth and also that they had both Screw Attack and Dead Battle was when they did the Young versus Tifa Lockhart Death Battle. And my first reaction was, that's bullshit. Who's this Yang? What the hell is this? And I checked, oh, she's the one of the main characters of the series from the new owner of Screw Attack. And I was like, okay. So I immediately didn't have a good opinion. I didn't have a good opinion. Like, oh god, really? So no, I wasn't really a fan. But what happened? What happened is that I have a friend who's a friend that she's also in the Discord server. A lot of you has probably interacted with her. She's called Little Red in the server. I think that's her nickname. She changes them so much often, so most of the time, yeah. Anyway, Little Red. Little Red is an old friend of mine. Well, we never really met each other in real life. She's someone though that I met on the internet in an internet community, and we got to know each other, to talk. And one of the things that she did was talk about Ruby, mention it, and what she did eventually was show me a picture of Penny Polendina. So I immediately liked their design. Like, I don't know why. Well, there are some reasons why. First of all, as you have played the game, you probably have noticed by now that I like girls with short hair, like never past neck. Not that girls with long hair are ugly or whatever. It's just that below the neck, they don't really carry any extra weight to me. Up to here instead, yes, maybe because, just it's a personal favorite, but I like that I have a team for redheads, freckles, and the kind of cat that Penny is, showing me some click. I was like, oh my god, so cool. And he said, yeah, but she dies. Ah, but I know that now they brought her back, whatever, but this was 2016. Volume 3 had already happened. Well, it just happened, actually. So that was my reaction. I was like, god damn it. But I liked their character, the design, the attitude, the voice, and so much that I wanted more of her. So I like, hey, maybe you can roleplay about it. And then when we all, we chat about it, we made the details, what is she like, her life at school, in Beacon, giving her more friends, an adventure, whatever. Then I realized, hey, this would actually make some pretty good a fan fiction. Because I started as a fan fiction writer. Then, as I was writing fan fiction, I realized, hey, wait a minute. At the time, I had been trying for a year on and off by that time to get into actually doing something with Rampy, which is the software for visual novel making that I mainly use for JPDE, and I eventually thought, hey, let me try and make a visual novel. So I started jotting down stuff, and then I joined the community for Rampy. Well, I was already a member, but I started reaching out, seeing where I could pay to do certain things, like the sprites. The first people that I met, that I contacted for commissioning stuff to were Amako and Bunny Void, which are respectively my concept art and sprite artist for JPD and my background artist. Very talented people. I met them in 2016, and I still collaborating with them to this day. And that's something I suggest if you're into any creative endeavor, keep your collaborations close. Please keep on collaborating with as many people as possible for as long as possible if you have a good work relation with them, because the more you will work with each other, the more you understand each other, and the more that you elevate your skills, the more each other benefit from each other's experience. So I suggest always keep your collaborators long term. That's a lesson that a lot of companies should also learn, but here we are. Anyway, the first, and then there were a couple artists for the CG. There is the first, as you can see now on the screen, the first two CG art pieces for the game that I made were this one for Penny, and another one that was for Ruby, and this is another picture that a lot of you probably haven't seen, because it was eventually replaced by a newer version. These were free of charge. These characters, these pieces of art were given to me by an artist for free. I'm sorry that right now I can't remember the exact name, but it's in the credits of the game. If you look at the credits, it's in the list, and I thank him wherever he is right now. I haven't really kept the contact with him, but he made those two pieces for free, and they were the first starting. So I had backgrounds and sprite arts that I commissioned, and I started doing the versions, and eventually I made two demos. One that basically established the system of how the game would work generally, and then the other demo which contained the first basic fight system, turn-based. It's a mess. It's still in the game, but it's the one where you have to make choices with the bar at the top, and it's like a quick time event, and we all know that it's not that good. It's still there because it's still there. And that's how the first two demos went out. And then I realized, okay, so this I putting it out. I interacted with the community. Some people liked them, some people don't like it. I had some feedback about some stuff, and in the end, though, I thought, hey, this is. I have a stable paycheck. I can put something aside each month to produce stuff for it. But maybe if I put out a Patreon, I can maybe get some more support, and I can make more stuff per month. So I opened in October. This was let me reiterate. The concept was born in August. The first demo went out in September. if I remember correctly, end of September, maybe beginning October. But at that point, I was already planning to open a Patreon, but I wasn't expecting to explode. I was expecting to explode because it literally exploded. Like in just a few months, there was so much support for the game for so many people. Some are still who are still here, some are gone, but it was amazing to me. Like I couldn't believe what I was seeing. What the hell? And so at that point, I had to realize, damn it, I better start making a structural plan for how I want to develop this thing. Because at that point, yeah, I can waste this money, I can waste this. Like, I need to make this look good. I need to set a plan each month. I need to make this. I make too much of this and that, etc., etc., etc. So at that point, I was so fully into the project. Now, though, here's the thing. The thing that JPD ended up being is not what JPD was at the beginning. The final form that we know today, with everything that happened, the diversion from the game itself, the diversion. Okay, nothing in Discord. What is and JPD ended up becoming at the end, with all the diversion from the main canon story, all the filling in of the spots remained empty in the lore, and the new characters, and the OCs, and the new paths for the already established characters, minors that became major, etc., etc., etc. That wasn't the plan at the beginning. That wasn't the plan at all. At the beginning, all I wanted JPD to be was to be a dating sim with some, elements of, how do you say, some elements of fighting, because it's Ruby. It's a game based on Ruby. Even if it's a visual novel, a dating sim, I can't in good conscience not put some fighting system in the game. And so that's why I started experimenting with turn-based and, whatever the hell you can call that kind of quick time event thing that I made. It still gives the shivers, really. Thing is, that's how it started. I just wanted to be a dating sim, something cute. You go on dates with gears, and you build up your stats, and the T, and da. But then it evolved. And here I want to go on a little tangent, though, about what inspired me, the kind of game, the structure of the game, that how it became, and what inspired the elements. The fighting element, I tried to replicate, well, not replicate, because that was different, was card based. What the visual novel that I played at the time that inspired me to put a fighting game in a visual novel was, oh my god, what's the name? I think it was Princess Wars or something like that. Princess Waltz is a visual novel that I'd been playing at the time that I really liked, and that I ended up, inspiring a lot of the things for JPD, like the ending basically being the solid core of the ending being the same, depending on who you chose to go with for certain stuff. Some elements changed, and the fact that there is a poly relationship for the main characters, that's the thing in that game as well. Princess Waltz, yeah, it's a pretty good one, Silver Dragoon. I like that. I like that you know it, and yeah, that's what inspired a lot of the elements. And another thing, though, and then when it comes to the social stats, because another thing you can do in JPDE, other than the stuff, is build up stats and the structure that you have a day split in three parts that you can go and do different stuff in. We're probably going to implement more stuff now that the main story is over. We can focus on some quality of life additions. But there is a game that inspired that I personally thought for the longest time that the game that inspired me to add those elements was, take a guess, Persona, the Persona series. I thought for the longest time that what inspired me to put those things in the game was the Persona series, social stats and gaining attributes and interacting with people, some prerequisite for interacting at certain things. But That's actually not true. That's actually not true, because looking back and thinking back of what I did during my life, the games I played, and it's actually not Persona. It's actually not Persona that inspired me, that inspired the mechanics. Because very specifically, what gave me thought, what gave me pause, was the tree. There is actually a game that predates Persona 3 by more than a decade. Yes, a decade, not more than a decade, but a decade that has those elements. And it's not just a dating sim, a visual novel dating sim. It's actually the first dating sim I have ever played. And the name of that game, it's a very old visual novel dating sim from 1995 that though I personally only played in 2003. I found it online. It was a freeware basically to download because it was fan translated. It was translated but never came to Europe. It was a mess for visual novel. At the same time, it was the Wild West. Anyway, the game was called True Love. It's a dating sim from 1995, and as I said, it's the first dating sim I ever played. And as I said again, it's the game that inspired those mechanics. Because just like JPDE, in True Love you can build up all. If you can see now on the picture I'm showing you right now on the right, there is your stats that you can build up. You can gain money, and there is how do you say there is the calendar and the time of day, and there is the fact that at the beginning of it's a bit different because in JPD you decide every single moment of the day what you do. Well, you're not that free in the morning because school, but in True Love at the beginning of the day you decide at the beginning what you're going to do. And sometimes, actually, if I look at it, it's identical to JPD because here too, college is in gold. Yeah, you can't not go to college. Now I remember. So as I say, it's not Persona. It's not Persona that inspired the game play of JPD. It's True Love. And as you can see, daytime, evening, night, calendar, do it, and this calendar telling the events on each month, and depending you click and you change like what you do in the evening, and there is a list of things. And fun fact, there is a thing like my first playthrough, there is something that I never managed to make happen. Basically, there were some things that I told the girls to do, but then it came the day it never happened. That's because you're supposed to put the promise on the time of day that you're supposed to do that thing. It's like I didn't get my first playthrough, first fun story. And if you want to check it out, it's actually no longer like the Wild West. Fuck who? I don't know if you know the website is it's a website, Fakku, fakku.net. They actually have a gaming section, and they actually republished this game not even a year ago, not even 1 full year ago. So it's available if you want to play it. It's a very fun time, and it's a PC 95, 98 game. I love the artwork of those games. Just look at that. Look at that. And like I want to show you another picture because really these games they have some graphics that were incredible, and I'm also you can see that the anime style that they use is very different from the one that they use today. Now it's everything is Tumo actually. This is actually the beginning of Mo. If you look at the Isaac, especially Ryoko Shibazaki, you see there's a page of in JPD showing you the progress with all the girls. That's also a JPD. So if you want to thank someone for JPD, thank this game. Thank True Love. Sounds almost poetic, doesn't it? And then, but that's not enough, because again, this is a tangent to show you what the mechanics came, where the mechanics came from, what inspired them, what game. But again, the biggest change in JPD, the scope of JPD, started when I started wanting to add my own characters. It wasn't just enough to have my main character you can name. And by the way, at the very beginning, that was a bad idea. It was immediately discarded. The main character was supposed to do. JPD was supposed to be an isekai game. Like the main nameless character that you can put your name in was supposed to be someone transported from the real world into the world of Ruby. Just so we're clear. That was dropped almost immediately, and I'm so glad I did. And but then it still was about game about someone that you can name that is not really a nobody. Is nobody speech special interacting with all the girls from the Ruby series. But then something happened. I said, I mean, I had to give her, you know, I had to give her a team, I had to give her friends, and then I realized I want to start making more characters. Maybe I can give her an antagonist, and something to do while they're not doing school stuff. Because as you can see, basically, Monday to Friday is school stuff and startup date stuff, but Saturday in these dates, and then Sunday I decided. Well, I can do some story stuff each week, but what kind of story? And I realized maybe I can give her an antagonist, something. But then I only wanted to give you a little something and maybe cut into the canon story of Ruby with, what the hell, with Salem and Cinder and everything and Grimm. But then I realized, especially after watching Volume 4 or Ruby did for me, were like, do I really want to do everything in JPDE in relation to what they state, especially when it comes to bad guys and the lore and the secrets of the game? I was like, nah. So, in a strange way, if you want to thank someone for JPDE going from a simple dating sim visual novel to an epic scope of visual novel, you can thank Ruby Volume 4. And you can thank this guy right here, Howard. Howard is basically what started all of it, because I designed this guy. But when I designed it, okay, first of all, you can see the uniform. He's wearing the uniform from the school from Haven, from Mistral. And I was like, oh, so he's doing the same thing as Cinder. But then they say, like, but is he related to Salem? And then I decided, you know what? No. I want to do something different. I want to do some enemies, some bad guys that are not related to Salem in any way. I want to do something different. I want to do my own thing. And it started with Howard. The spider eyes, and then he was my choice. Not only because I wanted to do some villains, some bad guys that didn't have anything to do with Salem. I want to do my own thing. But it's also when I decided I wanted to explore the stuff for Ruby that isn't explained, or that is explained poorly. Specifically, stuff like Faunus discrimination. If you play the game, you know that basically he's a guy who, because of how he looks like, because he's a spider, he's a spider Faunus, and he can be scary. He ended up being let's say persecuted, that he eventually snapped and killed someone, and from the end basically his life had been crap until he met the boss. So Howard has been my first time that I dipped my feet into what I wanted to do really. And what I wanted to do was take the word of Ruby and just expand on it, not just fill in the holes the Rooster Teeth left. I want to expand on it and make it bigger and make it more encompassing, give it some rules, etc. So thank you can thank True Love, and you can thank Howard, you can thank Little Red, and you can thank all the collaborators. And let's see if there is anything else. Okay, so that's the first part of the panel. This is pretty much in broad lines how JPD went from an isekai dating sim about Penny to everything that it is today. Of course, there are some steps along the way, but this in broad lines. By the time Howard was introduced, I already decided I want to go in a completely different direction. And that's how it happened, and I thank you for your support, because it's become bigger and better than it could have ever been without your support. Whether you're a patron or not, because word of mouth also helped a lot. So, with that, this is the first part of the planet over. So let's go to questions. Let's answer to some questions. Where the hell? All right, wait. I didn't print the questions from Discord. So okay, JPDE 4th anniversary stream. Okay, let's see. Okay, what's the plan with JPDE? Okay, this is good. I can't really answer because this question, what's the plan with JPDE? Will the story cause some diving get revenge on the boss? That's spoilers. I cannot spoil my own game before it's even out. I cannot do that. What happened to the rest of Team Ruby? In the finale, you mean? Well, they did some things like if you play the end game, so you have some hints of what they may happen, what they may have been doing, but those are going to be fully explored when we get to their version on the endings. Basically, as I said before, certain endings. Like Pyrrha's ending, Neo's ending, and Cinder's ending, the modification that they bring to the ending of JPDE, they're going to be basically be considered canon, even if you don't play. That's why they can be used, they can be seen, even if you don't bring them to the dance event. Because they're going to be canon in JPDE too. And some elements of the other girls' endings and events are going to be brought over and considered canon for JPDE too. I can't tell you which ones exactly yet because we still have to explore all the girls, all the events, well, also boys because there are some boy routes in the game. So I can tell you exactly which, but they've been doing stuff, and you'll see it when we go to other events. Wait to see. While the story is done, what percentage would you say JPD is from being 100%? Consider that it can potentially be infinite because of all the, let's say 95%, but it's potentially infinite. I could put update on this thing forever, really. I assume this we already be talking about in the stream, but how do your concept for the characters come up? Like how do you first think of Jack or Janara? That's actually a good question, because it's not specific. I don't, of course, have time to go over every single character. What happened with Jack and Janara? Jack was based on Elsa. Elsa from the Disney movie, the Frozen. Because the thing is, the characters are based, of course, on certain things, certain stories or fables or whatever, historical elements. And I flex a little bit the rules of that, but Elsa, because ice, yeah, wow, well, that was obvious. Okay. Okay, so yeah, Jack is basically based on Elsa because of that. Just, the colors and the ice powers, she's completely different, but, because that was the rule, you had to base it on a story. Okay, I'm basing it on a Disney movie. Janara, instead, is more interesting. Is more interesting because Janara is actually based on a figure from Italian folklore, folklore from my region exactly, le Janare. Janare are witches. The Janare are witches that exist in the area of Benevento, le streghe di Benevento. If you know an Italian, maybe you can ask about this word. But basically, they're actually a coven of witches that they've actually, literally, verily, I'm repeating all the words, I don't know why, but they've actually existed in Italy. In Italian, folklore Italian past. They were a coven of witches that did rituals related to the moon and stuff in the night. So, yeah, they're actually a thing. So, Janara, is in Italian, is actually based on an Italian witch. That's how she came about. Let's see. Let's continue. What else? Janara. No, the question is been asked before. Another. Out of all the current date roads available in JPD, which one would you say is your favorite one to write for? Huh. Well, that's a question. That's a question. I think that the routes that I like, I can't choose one, of course, but the ones that I like the most are the ones that allow me to write aspects of the characters that I usually wouldn't see in the series or anything. Like I like to go where no one has gone before and keep this sentence in mind for the future. But yeah, I like routes that enable me to just go nuts, just do whatever I want or explore things or see things in a different light, like Ruby's role as a leader or young relationship with her sister and with the way she wants to take care of everyone around her, and winter relationship with her own sister, stuff like that. Yeah, I like routes that end up allowing me to go somewhere I never thought about going myself. So yeah, I like routes that allow me to surprise myself, is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. If you were to do a route with a certain character, would they be okay, right? Pa. How 3D is JPD2 going to be? Will it be something like Chris said with just more proposal or more here? You'll see in the third part. Uh-huh. When are the public route polls coming back now the main content updates are done? This is also going to be answering the third panel, but if I have to be honest, consider the resources right now and the projects. We're probably going to keep the voting Patreon exclusive for a while longer, if not forever. It had to be honest because all the resources are going to need to continue updating JPD while working on the other projects. I don't think I don't think we're gonna go back to the double release, double CG thing because we'll see. You'll see in the third panel. Are there any OC characters made by you that didn't make it in JPDE? If yes, why? No, not really. No. Do you expect your next project to go along? Do you expect your next project to go along smoother than JPD? Yes and no. Yes and no. Because that's the thing with JPD, it's been a learning experience. I learned so much by working on JPDE, and I learned so much about how to make games, how to collaborate with other people. But the thing is, JPD is a type of game. And so, for the stuff that happened in that game, I learned how to get over it, how to get through it. For the new games, which are going to be completely different kinds of beasts, there are going to be different challenges. So, if with the stuff, if there is stuff that has come up with JPD will come up again, I will be able to go over those smoothly. If when new challenges present themselves, I don't know. But we'll see. I'm confident because I have a great team. When will there be a proper Jack Romance route? Jack is not available for romance. Not now, not ever. I'm sorry. Are there plans for more animated scenes from the story, like the giant turtle Grimm? Yes, I do plan to add other animated scenes to the game, but let's just say that they're not exactly story scenes, if you know what I mean. I can't say the kind of stuff on Twitch, guys. So you know what I mean. You know where the animation budget is going. You know. Uh-huh. Is there gonna be a big time skip between 1 and 2? Well, I'm going to talk about this in the second part as well, but I can tell you, yeah, there's gonna be a 3 years time skip between the ending of JPD 1 and the beginning of JPD 2. 3 years. 1, 2, 3. 3. 3. Okay? Okay, my questions are, without mentioning characters, are there routes that affect the story? I already spoke about it, but yes. Ba 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 ba. Do some of the events that happen in the series, like Yang losing her arm, happen in the game too, even if not mentioned or shown? Some, others. You'll have to see. Beach episode when? Your guess is as good as mine. Hmm. Okay, that's yeah. Yeah, okay. That's all the questions for the how do you say for the Discord. So from the next break, we're gonna do Discord. To Discord. We're gonna do Twitch Q&A. So from the next break, if you have any questions, put them in the Twitch chat. Okay, put them in Twitch. And I'm gonna take a 5 minutes break to refill my glass of water, and we'll be right back. The second part of the panel is about the creative process. How is JPDE made? How do we get from some pretty embarrassing stuff that I'm going to show you to what you actually play? You'll see. 5 minutes. We'll be right back. And we are back. I said it was going to be 5 minutes, and it's learn this from me, guys. Except with the releases for the game, but those are, well, it's a lot of different reasons. Anyway. Now it's part 2. The creative process. How is JPDE made? I thought it'd be interesting to go over it because I know that a few of you already asked me this. They want to know how do I make this game, how is the game made, how is stuff created, and I go through, let's say, through steps. Let's start with what I do personally. What I do for JPDE. In short, I'm the writer, coder, director, editor. So basically, everything is code related for JPDE I've done. And also edited some images and audio because I would say, for example, one of my artists more often not makes their let's say one of my artists gives me a big picture, like because the resolution is enormous. That way, like, oh, okay, I can use that to take a smaller piece and I put it big on the screen for effect, like a zoom in effect, stuff like that. I do all that stuff. And also with the audio, because there is audio that needs, if I get an audio track that is normal, I need to loop it, so I need to edit the track so it's loopable, etc, etc, etc. That's everything. So I'm writer, director, scripter, editor, etc. That's what I do. But my main occupation, of course, is the writing. So how do I write JPDE? How do I write everything, really? And while we talk about that, I'm going to show you actually a piece of code from the game. It's nothing that you haven't seen already if you played all the game. So I don't know how well you can see at this resolution because it's 1920, but that's of course a smaller part. So basically, what happens here? You can see there are different code commands, but how do I go into doing this? How do I know what to write? Because that's, okay, there's to make this appear on the screen, to make this sprite move from left to right, to make this gag happen, to write this. How do I know how to write dialogue? I don't know, how do I get into writing the story? So, when you get into a creative writing class of any kind, most of the time, they tell you that there are two kind of writers. There are the ones that railroad everything. They're planners. There are those that basically decide everything that is going to happen in a story from the very beginning. Like they cannot deviate the path. Okay, the story will go this, and the path is set from the very beginning. Then there are those that are, let's say, free-form writer. Those that have only like a big plan, if any. And when they do write, so more often not always do they manage to make something coherent. Sometimes they happen, plot holes, stuff that doesn't make sense, etc, etc. And for the railroad, it may happen, wait, if now I want to do something that I didn't plan for, I cannot do it because the plot is so railroaded that it cannot fit properly. It doesn't make any sense. I'm of a third school. I go down the middle. What I do, what I like to call myself, let's call myself a milestone writer. I write milestone. So what does that mean? It means that I don't go freeform, I don't even go railroad. What I do is train stations. I don't know how the path goes between each rail station, but I know that the rail station is there. There are some milestone events that I decide, that I think of ahead of time. So this is going to happen, and that is going to happen down the road, and that other thing. But everything in between, I don't really plan everything from the beginning. That's an exercise that the characters tell me what to do. What I do is set some rules. So in this world, this can happen, that other thing can happen, add those characters, and what happens between the milestones is decided by what the characters can do, what they will do, depending on the personalities, their past, the situations they're in, and if the thing is actually possible, if it makes sense. That's how I write. So I decide okay, this milestone, so I go towards the milestones, but if I want to add something in between, like I suddenly want a guardian for a gate of an abandoned city, and the guardian happens to be a metal blob that becomes a gender bent version of a minor villain of the original series, I can do that. I can do that. So that's how I write, and that's how the writing process happens. Now about the art process. I have a lot of collaborators. Amako, Lightboom, Sadui, Bunny Void, and Project Trinity, and Odil the End, and Choco Jacks, so many people, they're all credited in the game on the website. Thank you so much, everyone. If you're watching this, I don't know if you are or later, because this is going to my YouTube channel as well, by the way. I think you should do it automatically at the end of the stream, I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much. You're great. I love working with you, and we've done so much. I can't wait what we do in the future. So what happens when I need to commission art? It depends on the art and on the artist. What happens is let's take music. When I commission music to Project Trinity and all till the end, what I do is tell them about the feeling of the track or the situation and a specific event that situation that track is going to be used for. For example, I need a track that is sad and is going to happen because this event happens, because there is this character that is going to see the love of her life fade away in her arms after being horribly made by something she did. So I tell the feeling, I tell the event, and depending on that, they give me a first draft, and then I decide, okay, I like this instrument, maybe the intro should be shorter, there's feedback. At the end, we have a track that I can use. That's for the music. For the art is a bit different, because again depends on the artist. For example, for Amako, and here I'm going to show you some sketches. A moment. If you're a patron, you're already aware of most of the sketches. You already probably seen them, but if not, there we go. So what happens? What happens is that the patrons vote, the popular vote happens, etc. For Amako, I give them basically I need this character wearing this suit with these expressions, and I write down the kind of expressions, what they should look like, what feeling they should express. And after that, they send me back some sketches, and the sketches are sent to me. I show them also to Patreon in the Patreon chat. Does this need modifying? This other thing needs modifying. That's too short. That's too bad, etc., etc., etc. And there's a continuous back and forth. That is, there is a final product. What I want to specify though with Amako in particular, Amako is an artist, is a great concept artist. Like for him, for example, whenever I need him, I need a new outfit, something completely new, something that there is no reference to, like it doesn't need to look like anything else. I find that it's better to let him go free, wild, because he's so good at concept. He's so good at making stuff new. Of course, I need to give him some input, but I found, especially with some of the other projects, that the more details I give him to try and adhere to, the worse the result is, because I'm not an artist. I don't have the artistic sensibility and creativity that Amako has, that an artist, a visual artist has, an experienced visual artist has. So in this case, I gave as little detail as possible. Of course, there are different level of details to be given. For example, when it comes to a CG art piece, like a CG that is supposed to represent a scene, you have to give a little more detail. And here I want to show you another example. This is going to be a little preview of something that is going to come with this month's release. This month we have 2 more dates to add to the game. One is the Ren, the first Ren date, which is going to be the first boy love date of the entire game, and the other one is the second event for the Malachite twins. So what happens? Sadui is the one who does these pics, these CG art pieces mainly. So what happens? What happens is that I give her the concept. I give her, okay, there is these characters. They need to wear this happening in this scene, and then I also give her a sketch like this one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look at it. 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 Are you seeing it? Yeah, that's my drawing. I didn't put that much effort into it, still. That's what Sadui has to work with. So I give her a sketch, I give her a reference. I give her a reference for clothes, for characters, for the scenario, for the backgrounds that Bunny makes, because they're all happening. They all happen in the backgrounds of the game that the Bunny made, or sometimes the backgrounds are abstract, depending on the situation. But anyway, I give her all that reference, and then magic. I cannot explain how else she's able to do something like, okay, you've seen that sketch, but Sadui manages to go from that to something like this. I don't know how to explain the other magic or talent. Like going from that horrible mistake to something like this. I don't know how she does it, but she does it all the time. She started it with Blake's second CG piece, and now we're coming to stuff like that. This is the second Malachite Twins event CG art. I'm not going to tell you what's happening here. Maybe you can understand if you know what the first one is, and yeah. But again, magic, 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 magic. Let's see what else I can talk about here. Schedule. Well, yeah, I think maybe I want to maybe a little bit about Bunny, because Bunny Void and Amako are the two artists that have been collaborated with the longest. They've been with JPDE since the beginning, the very beginning. After 4 years, we're still collaborating, and it's awesome. Bunny Void, in particular, she's helped me so much, so much. It's we talk to each other every day. Basically, she interacts with the team a lot. She's part of the team. She's not just a collaborator. She's a teammate. She's something that's going to make a lot of stuff happen in the future. And I literally couldn't be here without Bunny Void. So thank you so much, Bunny. And seriously, just look at her art. Like, I want to show you a screenshot of one of the backgrounds that she made for the game. Just look at what she's able to do, and I can't wait to show you what she's going to do in the future. For her, it's a bit complex because some of the backgrounds for JPDE are almost copy paste from the series. Others are completely original, like. Or some are modified or expanded versions, like the Amity Colosseum. But the Atlas airship is something that we had to look at the references for Atlas technology, but then expanding something completely new. And she's absolutely great. She's a true professional. And again, thank you all so much, all my collaborators, all my teammates, all the artists that made the JPD possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So once I have all the pieces, I put them all together in code, and then we have a complete product. And by the way, I want to give a shout out to the Russian speaking community who have become fans of JPDE, who translate it to Russian, and most importantly, they helped it for the last year or so importing it to Android, because Android for RAMP, making RAMP ports for Android ports for RAMP is a disaster. It's a real disaster. It used to be easier, now it's harder. So thank you, Russians. Thank you, Kifat in particular. Well, no, not Kifat, Corden. Sorry, Corden for the Android. Kifat for other stuff. If you know, if you're part of the Discord community, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. So thanks, Russian speak community. And yeah, once you have everything together, we have a finished product that I then publish first on Patreon and then on all the other websites. We have our own special website, jpde.art. And then there is the each channel, and then you get spread all over the internet, seems, because now we're even on F95. I can understand why, but you know. So that's pretty much how the process of creating JPDE codes goes. I decide what needs to be made through polls or writing for each month. I send out the request to my artists. I start writing the code, and while they work on the art, send me the art, I edit it, I put it in the game, and then we build the version of the game each month. That's pretty much how the process goes. And sometimes it gets delayed because accidents happens, real life gets in the way, but that's pretty much what an average month for JPD production has been so far. And now, that concludes pretty much the second part of the panel. There is nearly not much else to say because it's a result of routine. It's a result of a routine that I developed over the years with my collaborators and JPD working on it and the programmer Rampy, and so it's just a result of experience. There is not something that I read something how to do, how to operate, how to organize. It's something that I learned during in media res. I think anyone going through the same motions will come to the same method of working. So if you want any advice or how do I do this, just do it and you'll find the method and the organization that works for you. And now let's go to the questions from the Twitch chat as I promised. So from now on I'm going to answer from this chat over here. So go with your question and I'll answer. But first, okay. So let's see. Someone maybe already asked some questions in the Twitch chat. Okay. How did you find your artists in the first place? Asks Borgert. Different places. The main place where I began, the place where I first met the first artists for the game, is the Lemma Soft forums, which is basically the community made by the creators of the software Rampy. It's a forum where you can find, critics. You can interact with your creators, and there is a section. There is basically I'm an artist and I'm selling my skills for commissions because. By the way, I want to make clear. All my collaborators are paid. All my collaborators are paid. That's what the Patreon money goes for. And some of mine as well. It goes into paying their services because, yes, we're friends, we're collaborators, we collaborate for years, but I never want, it's a matter of principle. I never want anyone who does something for me for a project to go unpaid. If you have a skill, get paid for it. If you're an artist, don't get paid in exposure. Decide what your art is worth and ask for the price and get that money. Because starving artists are so well hired, really. Don't be a starving artist, get paid for what you do. Okay? So yeah, Lemmasoft forums, that's where I first started them, and then others I met Station, Twitter, a lot of other stuff. But I started with the Lemmasoft forums. So, who else? Reverend Payet for Yang for David Lude. Event to when? When something is voted for. what needs to be voted for that weapon? Will any optional boss fights exist based on routes? EA announced fire for Pushing Blake. Yes. 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 One of the things that will change with the ending, depending on the girl you choose for the last stretch of JPDE, now that we're gonna add more options, is going to be an optional boss fight. For example, like Ruby in the event Ruby is being about her fighting basically normal Grim, but making a last girl stand alone against the impossible odds, being a hero, protecting people who are complete strangers, but she still protects them to the last drop of blood, because that's what Ruby is. Ruby wants to be a hero, wants to help, to protect, so to showcase who Ruby really is, her final battle would be about, that's what I told you would be, should have been, about her protecting even complete strangers to her last breath. Because that's what Ruby is. Other routes are gonna have different boss fights. So yeah, different routes, different optional boss fights. Absolutely. Let's see. How did you come up with the green bosses? I depends. For example, for stuff like the Gamera, I just okay, I want something imposing, something big that needs to be slow. Like I needed a specific type of enemy for the Gamera, for example. Instead, for the Keres instead it was the team. Keres and Nyx are figures from Greek mythology, and they're very peculiar, and they go with the theme of the battleground of Vonodrum, which is actually inspired by the real World War I French battleground. I wanted, if you played the part of the story, you know what the team were, so I needed a Grim based on stuff that went with that team, and that's how the Keres were born. So it's either because I needed a particular kind of enemy, or because I needed an enemy with a team that went with the piece of story I wanted to tell. So let's see. Guess I got ask is what was the thought process in making Root Sensitive Mercury Blacker on Carter? Titania. Because I saw the design made by the artist Syncubi and I liked it, and I thought, what the hell? I wanted to do it. There is really not much else to say. The thought process was, I feel like it. That's really, I feel like it. Does it make sense? Can I make it happen with the rules of my world? Yes. Okay? That's it. What's the time frame for the YouTube upload of the host? Let's say it's going to happen after a certain thing happens, because I have some songs, other songs that need to be updated, like the Ruby vs Penny track was updated, but there are others, there's one track in particular that I want to upload before everything else on the host, and when you hear it, I think you understand why. Waste boss fight is going to be giant boobs, isn't it? No comment. What do you think about inclusive voice acted scenes? No. No, because again, as I said, I don't want to do so. First, because we tried doing a voice team thing for JPDE, but it didn't go really it didn't really go anywhere. Crashed and burned. It was a lot of complication and didn't go anywhere. And I want to try that again because it was something that I did with volunteers, people that they didn't really have any reason other than I feel like it to stay in the process to be fresher for it. So no, it's not something I want to do again. So everyone that I want that is going to do something for JPD or their project is going to be paid for it. And paying voice actors for doing all the lines of dialogues in Ruby in JPDE, which I don't know. I think Corder counted the amount of letters. Right now, the amount of JPD is longer than the Lord of the Rings. Imagine how much voice acting you would need for that. How much money? It's not going to happen anytime soon. Okay, the audio approach writing for your word JPDE. Otherwise, I just answered this in the panel that just ended. Is it the voice at OS one, right? Yeah, it's that. It's that. Will there be a lot more C's in the second game? Well, I guess you just have to wait and see, won't you? Okay, that's I see the last question submitted. So I'm going to take another 5 minutes break, and I'll see you after the break in a few minutes. And with the third and last part of the panel, welcome back everyone. So, we talked about how JPD came to be, how it transitioned from what it was in the beginning to what it is now, what it ended up being, how the process of making a release works, and now we're going to talk about the future. So, the third part of the panel, JPD2, Ars Navigatio and Navigatio. Ars Navigatio, because it's Latin, and ONHA. ONA, or it's no longer that. It's no longer that, and let's start from that. So, those that have been in the community for a while may know that one of the projects that I wanted to go into, one of the side projects for JPD that I wanted to go into was a game that I called Ore no Hero Academia, which is basically the JPD version of My Hero Academia. But oh shoot indeed. What happened here? The plan was to make a game that was like JPDE. So something that would be diverting from the main story, take artists and make it into something different, become something epic, make the story but make it differently. I had all these plans, but then talking with one of my collaborators, Light Boom. Let's say that he made me realize I thought about starting about it, I want to do it. Do we really have the time and resources to make another game in the scope of JPDE while also working on the sequel and Ars Navigation? And the answer is no, we don't. I had to bite the bullet, look at myself in the mirror and say, you can do this, you have to do something less serious, something more easygoing, no, and also something different, because that's the thing. With JPD, we learn so much, but then there's JPD 2, which is going to be something else to be learning from, and Ars Navigatio. For Ars Navigatio and JPD 2 is going to be something almost completely different from JPD in terms of gameplay, most likely, but also in terms of almost everything. It's going to be something completely different. Ars Navigatio and ONA are going to be something that is based on lessons apprehended, learned from JPD development, but I still want to do something different still. Like, okay, most of it is going to be on JPD, but what do we want to do different with ONA? And the answer was, I don't think I can read the title here on Twitch because certain keywords now are not exactly welcome anymore. But let's just say that going back. ONA is going to be less like JPD and much more like True Love. It's not going to be an epic about altering the story of the manga, the My Hero Academia, etc. It's going to be something about you choosing your gender. You can still choose your gender. You're going to be you can be a woman or a boy in the game, and then you meet people and you go on dates with them. That's it. But for the gameplay, we decided to do something different. Basically, it's not just going to be talking. There is actually going to be a little bit of actual gameplay, like a challenge, a single type of gameplay that is going to be used for basically for determining the success of your dates or the events to go on, how much your stats are going to increase if the gate is successful. And they're inspired by a game that I cannot mention here because again Twitch rules. I don't want to risk also YouTube rules because this is going to be uploaded to YouTube afterwards. But yeah, it's going to be something different, something more easygoing, something much more easier to get into because you're not going to be required to know about My Hero Academia. It's not going to be something that you have to apply your brain to. It's not going to be as story heavy as JPD. It's going to be something easier, something different, and I think you're going to be really liking it. If you're in the Discord community, you know why, you know what I mean, and I hope that you really like it. Moving on, the other game, and this is actually going to be our first completely original game, Ars Navigatio. And here, how do you say, there's going to be a story because Ars Navigatio actually went through different forms, different shapes, different concepts. The very first piece of art that I commissioned for Ars Navigatio, back when it was called Sea of Moneta, were the world map and the sprites of the first two characters here. The thing is, at the time, I wanted to do something like JPDE. It wanted to be a story, but it was going to be more anime-like. It was going to be about academies of young mariners or sea-faring people going against each other for a continent after a flood. It was going to be reading back into it, reading back on what I wrote. I was going, yeah, this is pretty generic. It's no surprise that I didn't last. Also, again, the concept that I had for the game is something that I couldn't do with Rampy. I would never be able to do that kind of concept for gameplay with Rampy. So, scratch that. Scratch that concept. We had to go something else. Okay, what can I do with Rampy? Because what I wanted to keep, was the sea aspect. Because I'm not just Italian, as a lot of you know. I am from the south of Italy. I am from Napoli, in the south. And so I've been near the sea for my entire life. I love the sea. I love sea ambientation. I love the games and stories that take place sailing. In fact, one of my two favorites favorite JRPGs ever are Chrono Cross, which takes place in an archipelago, and Suikoden 4, which is all seafaring and pirates and marines and stuff like that, and I really like the game. It seems to be like the black sheep of the Suikoden series, I think. I really, really, really like it. I like it even more than the other entries in the series. Don't ask me why, it's my taste, but I think I wanted to keep the sea aspect of it. So I decided, wait, I'm Italian, and so I went back into my history. I decided maybe I can base the story about, something that happened in Italy on the sea. And there are the sea republics, Le Repubbliche Marinare, which is a thing that happened in Italy, one of those being Venice. And the thing is, the game back then came up with was called Ars Oratoria, which was practically going to be a Phoenix Wright style of game, but not really, except it pretty much was a Phoenix Wright kind of game. I'm trying to find. Oh, there we go. This is a concept art for the courthouse that it was going to be, but with magi tech, I guess, because it's like the age of sailing, but magic crystals make you able to do something you wouldn't otherwise be able to do. It's a thing that you see, for example, in Eberron. The D&D campaign ambientation of Eberron is like that as well. But at the end, it was still going to be... It's something I could do, but again, Phoenix Wright. So, maybe this is something I want to make because we want to eventually sell it, our original game. So, copying Phoenix Wright, but instead of a courtroom game, it's going to be a debate game. Maybe we could like the Danganronpa. I don't know. So, there were trappings that we had to go through. But then, something happened. So, a couple things happened. First, while working on Ars Oratoria, Lightboom made a system for exploration, and, it's the thing they use for evidence in Phoenix Wright. So you zoom in, you rotate it, you analyze it to get information, you interact with stuff, with the environment, like an adventure game, basically. He made that kind of system. So that kind of system, as I said, is for exploring. It's very good for exploring and getting to know the environment around you, objects and everything, getting information, and then exploring. Again, a courtroom, that would be, yes, on the sea, the Repubbliche Marinare, but still it would be in a courtroom. I wanted to go on the sea. I wanted to make a story about exploring the sea, sailing, the unknown, and also, the people that live by the sea, how they interact. But the thing is, that kind of game is a very big concept. Again, it's not a big concept for gameplay, maybe, but it's a big concept writing. But then I thought, maybe I could do it episodic. But wait, Manos, like your case, like a story about exploration, something so grand. How could you ever do a story about exploring the unknown and all the people that had to deal with the unknown and how they interact with each other in an episodic manner? That has never been done. Never! Except in August, my girlfriend got me into Star Trek, and that's where the damn freaking burst. And I like, poof, moment. But that also wasn't enough, because Star Trek is great. Like, I went to the entire series in a month and a half, literally. I started in August, and by the end of September I was already gone through the entire series, and now I'm actually into Star Trek DS9. I started second season, I like it even more than Star Trek The Next Generation, because what DS9 seems to be trying to do is being able to do episodic, but also having an overlying long-running thread that you can get into, but through episodes. Like, I want to do more than started the next generation. I want to write a story in the style of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And if you like, I really suggest getting to it. It's a very great story, and if you know Star Trek, you don't need me to tell you why it's great. If you don't know Star Trek, please get in Deep Space Nine, because this Star Trek and Deep Space Nine are going to be great inspiration for Ars Navigatio. And here I want to show you the finalized logo, because no more changes on concept. Ars Navigatio is and is going to be. That's the logo, finalized, as you can see. I really love it. I don't know, well, you can express your opinion. I personally love it, but of course, express your opinion. It's going to be about exploration and politics too, the nations that interact, etc. And it's going to be great. I can't wait so you can until you can see the first episode. And yeah. So, Age of Sailing, Magitech, exploring the unknown, based on the Mediterranean history. I think you really like what we're going to do. And now for JPDE 2. The sequel. What are we going to do for the sequel? Of course, I cannot tell you any details about the story, because again, that would be a spoiler. What I can tell you though is, first of all, it's going to be completely 3D in Unity. There's going to, of course, to be some sprites, for face works and CG images, but for the explorations and battles, it's going to be full 3D. We're getting into Unity, and that's why Lightboom has become now a very, it's going to be a great... Lightboom is the most recent member of the team, and it's going to be he's a very important member of the team, because without him I wouldn't even know where to start in programming in Unity. And so we're going full 3D, and we're already experimenting, and we're ready for hitting the first walls to bash our heads against. How do you work as shaders? Why doesn't this animation work? What's a rig? And yeah, by the way, this is a personal thing. We're all learning new skill for going into JPD 2. What I'm focusing on, the new skill I'm learning, is rigging and animation. And I don't want to hear any Monty Aum jokes or reference to the guy. Like, the guy was himself. I don't want to be him. I don't want to get to his level, because this is going to be for a video game, so it's going to be limited. I don't want to go into full animations. But I'm learning animation, 3D animation and rigging. And by the way, I want to suggest, if you're interested in the kind of stuff, there is a new software that's being released. Right now it's free of charge for the beta, for early adopters, that they say. It's called Cascader. Let me write it in the chat. Cascader. That's how the software is called, and it's a physics-based animation software. What does that mean? It means that the software is able to calculate freely the motions that happen between two keyframes of animation. Without, basically, it takes away a lot of the work, the tedious work that you had to do between keyframes in other softwares like Blender. So I really like it, and I really suggest that you get into it if you're interested in this kind of stuff. And other than that, there is not much else I can tell you, really, because I can tell you it's going to be a JRPG, basically. It's going to be like a JRPG, Western RPG. There is a mix of things that we're trying. It's going to be full 3D. 3 years after the ending of JPD 1 is going to be the start of JPD 2. It's gonna be it's gonna have a subtitle like a JPD is called Sonata of Fire. JPD 2 is going to be called JPD something else. I can't tell you yet. And other than that, I guess I can show the first piece of concept art because yeah, now we're changing the process. For JPD2, we're of course gonna need 3D models. So Amako, instead of doing the sprites for it, is going to do the concept art, and I can show you the first piece in concept art. It's not really that much revealing because it doesn't show any characters, any location, but it shows a thing that is going to be important to the lore of the game. There we go. There is not even a title because you're gonna have to guess on your own what the hell this is. It's again, patterns are very roughly based on nervous system, touchscreen pen can work in your hand. It's like a wetsuit or something, doesn't it? I can't tell you what it is, what it does. It's going to be important for the gameplay. Because one thing that I really like about video games, about doing video games, is a fusion. Basically, I think that the best video games happen when you're able to harmonize and not make gameplay and writing fight each other. When they get together and they become greater than the sum of their part, so that's when you have a very great video game. And this concept art is going to be important for the lore, but also for the gameplay of JPD2. So, with that said, that's all for the future. I can't wait to show you what we're going to do with on NHIA or adventure, if you know what I mean. I can say that word with Ars Nargatio, GPD2. I can't wait to show you all, guys, what we're working on, what's going to be behind the scene when it comes on the scenes. I can't wait to actually get new collaborators, because right now we're in the preparation stages for JPD2, but we're also looking for 3D model artists, basically, because, you know, for 3D. So I can't wait to show you what we're going to make. And with that, the last part of the panel is finished, and I'm going to take a few more questions from the Twitch chat before we go. So take it away, boys and girls, and whatever else you want to call yourself in that Technicolor rainbow. Last questions, come on. It's a study working night. If someone already asked a question earlier that I can answer. How do I prefer writing? Develop more scene. The moment where David and Ruby scream, "Get out of my face!" Don't have to do some sort of no. But I deliberately, if you noticed after his transformation and his looks change. And there's a reason for that. If you paid attention to what he talked about with the flame before that happened, you know there are hints of what's happening to him. So there is a reason why that didn't look like his semblance. Other than that, let's see. Will JPD2 also be turn-based? I can't tell you exactly what we're going to do, but it's going to be like a JRPG traditional, but not exactly traditional. So you'll see. There is something we want to try. Yes, we can say it's going to be turn-based, but you'll see. Will events or dates in JPDE affect JPD2? Yes. They are going to. Basically, We are actually going to be trying to actually you'll be able to import Lightroom since that can be done. We're actually going to be able to import the save files from JPDE and to JPDE. And basically, both things they are going to change in JPDE too. It's not going to be because again full 3D, so think about it also. It's not going to be some crazy diversions, but there are some things that you're going to be able to import and going to have JPDE too. Yes. With weapon armor system. Hmm. 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 I can't tell you. Is JPDE going to be dubbed? No. Too much more. We cannot afford voice acting of JPDE. I'm sorry. If someone who wants to them and do a fun reading of it, a fun dub, that's fine by me. Please do it. If you have people that you can get to do a fun dub of JPD, no matter your skill level, please do. Send me the links. I'm going to watch them and laugh and everything, enjoy it. But we're not going to do any official dub and voiceover of JPD. Too much resource, too much money to spend on that. Because as I said, I don't be stars. Okay. Mm-hmm. How long do you think it will take to make a cutter route now the Ruby is finished? This month for October was an adjusting period, an adjusting month. From next month, we're going to resume the final date votes, that kind of stuff. But again, they're going to be Patreon exclusive. All fifth dates, all routes from now on. For JPD, all nominations, all votes are going to be Patreon exclusive. Okay? Patreon exclusive. Okay, what is your favorite part of interacting with the JPD community? The fan art. I love the fan art. I absolutely love the fan art, so I guess I love Kifat, but I love all the fan art, especially the one with the David kids, if you know what I mean. Okay, would there be an opening credits song video added? No. I mean, like a fully animated video, no. There is one that we made for the YouTube channel, but now I cannot use it anymore because it contains the old design of Peach that I cannot use it anymore. So we're going to do no fully animated. No. End credits though. Yes, we plan on ending end credits. Yes, it's a quality of life addition that we're going to add in the future. Absolutely, we're going to add the credits. Yeah. Did you plan the whole story of JPD 4 years ago? We started making it. No, as I replied in the second panel, that's not how I write. So no, I didn't. Will David actually have kids? I don't know. Is he going to have kids? Who is he going to have kids with? How many kids is he going to have? I don't know. So, any other questions, guys? Because, wow, 1 hour 54 minutes of streaming. We've been going at this for a while now. And considering, okay, guys, only 5 more minutes. So, wait to the 2 hours mark and then. Ciao. So, let's see. How big will Evelyn's family be? Hmm. If big enough. Evelyn's family is going to be big enough. I can tell you that. Can Young have a Silver Saiyan 3 costume sprite? If the patrons nominate and vote for it, yes. Why not? If it's not Neo, it won't survive. Evelyn is a bunny, what do you expect? Okay, guys, any other questions? Any other questions? Or we finish here? Any other questions? Any other questions? Anyone else wants to know anything else? Ask whatever, ask whichever, whatever you want. Not, no one? Let's see, I'm going to check also the Discord chat just to be sure. This is one start. Otherwise, I think we can call it a night. It is in, key file looking at you, doesn't mean jiggle physics, nothing particular. That's very well. Okay, seems like, is there a canon route for JPD? No. And with that, I think that we're gonna call it a night. Thank you everyone for coming to the stream. Again, this is going to be re-uploaded. Well, it's going to be uploaded to my YouTube channel as well. So if you didn't watch the stream on Twitch, you're going to be able to watch on that. It's 2 hours long, so I don't blame you if you didn't stay for the whole way through. On YouTube, you're going to be able to watch it piece by piece. So relax, and thank you so much for incredible years. Thank you for all the past and present and future support that I hope you will continue giving us. And I'll see you around. Please follow us on Twitter, join the Discord community, go on our website, jpde.art. jpde.art. That's our official website. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you for coming to the stream. I love you guys. And again, thank you. And I'll see you soon.